Hi guys,
Hi there.
welcome back.
Hello.
So today we are going to answer one question that has been asked by so many of you. It was asked way back when we wanted to make a Q&A. We didn't manage to do one, and we recently also asked a question on people who have a question for us, and this was the most asked question as well. So we decided to sit down and answer this one question because we find it very important and it affects like all couples out there. So the question was, do we ever fight? And when we do, how do we resolve that? How do we resolve our fights or our issues?
I think that was the main question. How do we deal with...
But just to answer your question, do we ever fight?
I don't think we really, this hard fighting.
Yeah, I think it depends with how you define a fight. Yeah. But if you're talking in terms of very harsh, exchange of words or physical or whatever.
We never had that.
No, we don't really get to that point. We've never really had like a fight really per se. Disagreements we do have.
Yeah, I mean, that's a normal thing of life to have.
We disagree all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time
Well, it's about the culture, how you deal with that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think we found so far an okay way. It works for us.
Yeah. One way of how we deal with our disagreements is we sit down and we look at the pros and cons of my points, the pros and cons of his argument and my argument, and to see which one affects us positively and which one is just about the ego or about the pride. And then after this, we decide to either go with the correct way or the mature way of things, or we simply say, let's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Because as long as it's not something that is affecting our whole family setup, we choose to agree to disagree. But if it's
important to let it go then,
Yes.
You don't keep it, you don't take it over and over again. Yeah. Just let it go.
Yeah, because one thing you should not do is to just assume things are cool and then pile up issues, pile up your disagreements.
The worst you can do.
Because it will come to a point and then you blow up and you start saying words that just, too
then
harsh.
You end up in a real fight.
Yes, and this brings out the real fight.
Yeah.
So that's one way of how we deal with our issues.
I think that's how we do it mostly.
Yeah, mostly yes. The other thing is whenever he's wronged me or I wrong him or I do something insensitive to him or he does the same, knowingly or unknowingly, but most of the time we don't really do funny things or we don't do things to hurt each other intentionally. Yeah. But should it happen, I feel like we are both past the pride stage of making an apology. He apologizes a lot when he feels like what I did was kind of not right or I didn't take it well. And most of
you do the same.
And I do the same, yes.
To be correct.
Yes, I also do the same. I actually feel like our biggest problem is communication, not in terms of English. Yeah. English not being his first language, and sometimes he will say something, he means something, and he says it in a way that, for me, being an English speaker, it sounds wrong, or that friction of languages kind of gets in the way, and sometimes you want to feel like you need to express yourself in your language, in the language that you're most fluent in. So this sometimes can become an issue in between, but overall...
Yeah, but it's not that often, is it?
Not really. No. Actually, most of the time, this one is actually so funny because just yesterday we were arguing about a shirt, a long sleeved t-shirt, a long sleeved t-shirt. For him, he feels like a t-shirt is what he's wearing.
Yeah.
But when it has long hands,
long short sleeves.
But when it has long sleeved, even though it's the same fabric of the t-shirt he's wearing, to him it's a sweater.
Yeah.
So I tell him, find Zoe a sweater, and he brings a t-shirt. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? This is a t-shirt. He's like, no, this is a sweater.
You took it, you said this is a sweater. I said, no, this is a t-shirt.
No,
I wanted to take.
No, you said it was
bigger.
you said it was a sweater. And I
Sweater,
told you this is a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I required something heavy, something warm for outside, and then he brings a
funny
t-shirt.
enough, this is something I learned in London in the school. They were actually really pointing out to this. So you see, these are the kind of things that can happen.
So this was an argument we had that for him a long sleeved t-shirt to him is a sweater. To me is a shirt. So if I get rubbed the wrong way with that information, I feel like he's being ignorant, but he's not. This is how he knows it.
Yeah.
And I know it the other way. So this kind of silly arguments.
You can leave a comment which one is what.
But all the same, I feel like it's all about understanding each other when it comes to exchanging. When it comes to having that harmony in the house, it's all about understanding each other, not being too harsh. It's not a competition. You don't have to win every argument in the house.
That's not the point.
And it's not about winning arguments in the house. It's about being in harmony and
it's about growing together.
Exactly.
Coming out of a situation in a positive way. Move on.
Exactly. That's what makes a relationship. So if you're having communication issues, this is something you can always practice to talk about issues. Don't pile on your issues. If you feel like your husband or your wife or your girlfriend, boyfriend is doing something that is offending you, it's always good to put it on the table, because how you start communication determines how you will deal with bigger issues, bigger fights in the future. So I feel like it's all about the communications, how you deal with your fights.
Absolutely. Communication is the most important thing.
Exactly.
And it's small details in communication. Like
and also the respect and being sensitive to each other. Be sensitive the words you're going to get out of your mouth. If the other person brought those words to you, how you will feel. Be sensitive enough to first analyze the words you're about to say, if you would want that person to say the same words to you. It's all about this. So,
it's about that.
And
I think the last very important point, never go angry to bed. That's very important. Because you wake up, you don't sleep well, you just wake up with more anger.
And you continue with the same anger. And
close all arguments you have the same day. Say goodnight to each other with a kiss. And you're good to go. So I hope this answers your question.
Yes, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for this question. We feel like we also needed to actually sit down and ask each other, do we ever fight? How do we deal with it? We actually had to have this conversation. And
before the video.
Yes, and we ended up being in the same page of this topic. So this is it. We hope you guys are in a good position in your relationships, in your friendship, because it's all about, even in your friendships, with your siblings, with your friends.
It's with everyone.
It's with everyone, how you deal with arguments and how you deal with misunderstandings and stuff. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the question.
Communicate with each other.
Yes, and
see you next video.
We'll see you next one.
Bye.
Bye.